mentioned, we need some gloves. I normally don't wear them, but I'm trying to be better. So I'm gonna start wearing gloves more often. I'm in air conditioning, so it's not that hot. Check out how sick this thing is. So I have microfiber towels and pads, and then I have the little garbage can. So I'm gonna bring the garbage can over into the spot. You've got these 3 sections into this recycling bin. Now it stinks because it takes up so much room. This is 26.5. Takes up a lot of really expensive real estate in your cabinet array, but all aluminum, pretty sick. So I'm gonna put this right next to our location, so I can just throw stuff in. So I'm prepared. This is the most prepared I've ever been to change the oil. So we'll take the tank plug off first. Now, any kind of crush washer thing like this, I think someone always told me, and I may be making this up, but you shouldn't progressively add torque to these. You want to just kind of break it loose. Now, you should also have a paper towel in hand. I got my little table here. You should also do this warm. I'm doing it cold. I mean, the reason to do it warm is the oil will be a little bit more apt to run out of the car, but I figure what the heck, it doesn't matter. I'm not gonna burn myself doing it this way. So now we can reposition this. I don't want this to fall off, so I want to make sure that stays there. And we're going to do our secondary plug. So you got our reservoir tank and then our main drain bolt. This is where our larger, even a 3/8 won't fit because we got this, I guess this is I don't know if it's an oil line or coolant line, but that's in the way. So we've got to use our Allen. There's a crush washer here as well. Gets stuck on there, so we'll get that later. Gosh, this is magical changing oil up here. Whoa, that was close. So since I did that, I'll just ditch this glove completely. So we'll let that run for a few minutes, and then we'll try to figure out how to get over here. See if I can get it to reach the oil filter. So we'll do the oil filter next. So I'm gonna let that drain for 5 or 10 minutes. I'm excited to go out and drive with the, I did just put this AWE exhaust on. So put the factory headers back on. The car's gonna run like crap until I get a few ignition cycles. So we're still dripping. I'm gonna put the darn plugs back in, and I never over stress about having every drop of oil drain out. I mean, especially if you change it periodically. So I did this oil change at 1,000 miles, I believe, maybe 1,500 miles. And so it's been about a year. And let's see, how many miles have we done? So about 5,000 miles. I mean, these cars call for, what is it, 11,000 mile change interval or something crazy like that. So I don't do that. I do it, you know, roughly once a year. Okay. And then we got our main plug here. You really should. Actually, I think what I would do, I'm going to leave this plug out, and then we'll do the oil filter. Because you really should do the filter at the same time as the as you're draining. It's kind of hard because I got these 3 points, and I only have one of these. This is where I'll take my brake cleaner. Careful not to get anywhere on the paint, but just kind of get any oil that might be around here to keep it looking nice and neat and new. Okay. So let's see if I can slide this over. Yeah. Now we can grab our filter. interesting. Why does it start draining out like crazy again? All right, so 27 mil should be a standard righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, I believe. Just never remember if it's reverse thread or not. Man, this thing really tightened up. I know I didn't put it on that tightly. It's like the darn GT350 filter that you have to put on with like 30 foot-pounds or something crazy. Oh, I forgot to mention, there's a plate. I already had it off because we were doing the exhaust yesterday. I guess in order to get this out, it should come out. The threads on the sucker are long. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. I don't think I can get the filter out with the tool on it. Let's see. There we go. I'll let that drain. Now, I got the sucker locked on there. I have to try to get this off. We're gonna have to hammer it off. There we go. Let's prep our filter. I find that filling up the filter doesn't make sense. I just do a little bit. I always put a little on the lip just so I can take and do that just to get a little bit of oil inside. I know some people will fill it up, but I always find it all dumps out. Yeah, see, there's no green O-ring on there, and they always send that O-ring, but it doesn't make any sense. Just kind of wipe this out, even though it's still dripping. Since this is a real fancy car, I like to try to keep it clean. Wipe the area where the gasket goes so you get a good seal. Filter. My oiled gasket, and we'll put it back on. So, by the way, this threaded section is much bigger on the, I guess this would be G series version of the 9A1 engine. There's a much bigger neck or opening. The filter's different. I don't know if they changed the oil pump or what, but we'll take this. Put this back on the new filter, and we'll torque it. And we don't want to go too tight because it'll naturally tighten itself up. I don't know what the spec is. It really doesn't matter. Just don't go so tight that you'll never be able to get the filter off, but you don't want to put it too loose where. So I guess the smart thing to do would be to go grab a torque wrench, but you can't really fit it in there anyway. That ought to be plenty tight. Okay, oil filter's on. Let's clean up this area. Everything nice and clean. And then we'll put our final drain bolt back in, even though it's dripping a little bit, it'll do that all day. So you see what I'm saying about maintenance on a GT3. I mean, it's actually easier than other cars. So I wouldn't be intimidated by it if I were you. Or if you're like I was for many, many years, you're aspiring to own one, or a Porsche of some sort, you can chalk it up to, you could fix this car, do at least all the maintenance on your own. Even removing the center locks is not a big deal like you'd think. It's a little scary at first, but Really isn't that big of a deal. So there you go. Oil change underneath anyway, done. And then we'll fill it up top. But first, I'm gonna get this out of the way. Let's put the plate back on. So my fill line, yeah, shoot. I'm halfway, my tank's halfway filled. Smart thing is to always keep caps on the oil so that you don't spill it everywhere. I think these are T30. Always makes me feel good. Two things make my car feel faster. One, when it's clean. Two, is when you change the oil. Am I doing this backwards? I don't think so. There we go. These are usually pretty good about being able to go in straight, so as long as you don't go crazy. I found that I don't cross thread them. But normally you'd want to put your screws in by hand. Notice my Renline tow hooks, or tie down hooks, not tow hooks. So these are for, you're going to tie the car down. I used it often when I had a trailer. All right, we're good. One mistake you want to make sure you don't make is put it down with your garbage can or your light. There's nothing better in this world than having a scissor lift. It's so magical. Now, I don't think I have a funnel here, so I'm gonna have to be precise. So I'm gonna do 7 1/4 quarts. So here's our fill hole. Now, you wanna be careful with this. I know when these cars first came out, there's a couple of guys that had engine fires because they just dumped it too quickly and it overfilled and dumped down the side of the engine. So you wanna make sure you don't do that. This is easy enough to fill without a funnel. So you wanna manage how you dump this in here. Again, unfortunately, no dipstick. Porsche, if you're watching, give us a darn dipstick. We don't have to play these stupid games. There's 1 quart. Yeah, so the capacity is 7.5 liters. This is 1 quart. So I'm a huge Amsoil fan. I should just suck it up and become a darn Amsoil dealer. That way I won't have to go somewhere to get it. And then I can provide it to you. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Don't do that. Wasn't paying attention. Quart number 3. So, you know, especially in the early mileage, there's just really virtually no maintenance other than changing the spark plugs in this car and changing the oil. And I like to over critically change oil, change it more often than not. Although I think it's probably been a little bit longer than a year since I last changed it. Take a little CarPro eraser here just to clean up my oil residue here. So I put 7 1/4 quarts in, and then we'll drive around and measure and see where we're at. And oil's done. Just make sure to put the cap on. I think it has to go this way. Yeah. So let's do our front cabin air filter, and then we'll do the inside one. So I'll close this up. We're all done here. Cool. All right, let's do the front real quick. All right, I don't remember exactly where this is, but I think it's super simple, if I remember correctly. So notice I got my little pigtail here set up for if I ever need a trickle charge with my C-Tech. So just pull the cover off, make sure this comes out. Just set this aside for a second. And then, yeah, air filter's right here. I just pop this box. Exactly how to do this. That's all we really need. And then this thing just pulls out. Really, probably doesn't even need to be replaced, but I got it, so let's do it. Let's see if we notice a difference. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if the white balance of the camera can pick that up, but a little bit of dirt. I remember this is not particularly expensive. But notice how it kind of, see when I push down, it kind of turns at a 90 in there. So that's what it should look like. Push it all the way in, so it goes all the way like that. Just inspect to see if there's anything nasty in there. Everything looks good. Push that back in place, pop all our connections back in. Grab a microfiber towel, a little bit of CarPro eraser, and just wipe the dust off because I can. It's kind of like cleaning the jams. If you just do this every time, then everything stays nice and clean. Okay, let's put our cover back on. That one's done. Slide it into the yellow tabs. Make sure we put our pigtail in place. It's not quite right. There we go. There should be no fight on this. And then you just take, when I pull this rubber back like that, so it covers it up. You get a nice seal. That's done. No emblem. It's the way to go. Let's do our interior one. You have to take these plastic screws out. There's one. I can frickin' see. There's two. This little thing pops down. Here's our box right here. It just pops down. That. The filter comes out, which is completely clean and unnecessary to change, but we're going to do it anyway. If I remember correctly, this one was pretty expensive, so you don't really need to replace this all that often. There we go. Gosh, I hate hanging upside down more than anything. Screws back in. There's actually a third one up there that you should probably take out that I didn't, but good enough. Nice. Yeah. All right, so that's the process. Oil change, cabin air filter change. At probably 4,000 miles from now, so probably next oil change I'll do the spark plugs. I won't mess with the cabin air filters for probably another couple of years. So there really is no other maintenance on this thing to do. That's a really simple, obviously easier with a lift if you have access to one. But here's our jack pad comes out, and there really isn't much else to do. I'm excited about testing out the AWE exhaust. We'll see if that's viable versus going back to Dundon Street. The obvious disadvantage of doing the race is that if you have a white car, it turns everything yellow. And I was working on polishing and couldn't quite clean it up. But anyway, that's the oil change process on a 991 should be .1, .2. Most Porsches are going to be very similar. So car will definitely run cleaner and faster now. Car's clean too, so that's helpful. Anyway, thanks for watching this one. More GT3 content coming up here. When I do some flybys on the AWE exhaust, go check out over the past week or so. I've done all kinds of little maintenance upgrades, and we've decided we're going to be doing a stereo in the car as well. So we're going to be tearing it apart on the inside and doing a pretty awesome Dyne Audio Moscone setup with my buddies from Sound in Motion here soon. So thanks for watching. As always, stay tuned for more crazy. Catch you soon.